Hey there, my name is Leah. I'm with Sebastian Vandeskier from Team Social Anxiety Solutions. Did you come here today to look for a solution in dealing with your feelings of awkwardness in social situations? Are you tired of worrying about what to say or what not to say in the middle of a conversation? Or are you wanting to get rid of fears about coming across as lame or weird or awkward to the person you're talking to? Then you came to the right place. Today I'm going to show you a video clip of a YouTube live coaching session that Sebastian did with Antoine. Antoine is a social anxiety sufferer who was participating in our free 30-day social confidence challenge at the time that this session happened. He already has a good understanding of important concepts that you need to know to overcome your social anxiety completely, such as self acceptance, subconscious resistance, and most importantly, the very powerful emotional freedom technique, or what we call the tapping technique. Most likely than not, he has similar issues just like you. So I want you to watch this video until the very end so you'll get to see how Antoine got a shift in perspective at the end of the tapping session that he did with Sebastian. So check it out here.
Okay, let me feedback. So what you're saying is like, well, when I'm in a particular social situation, I find myself getting really in my head, and I can't, so I feel limited, debilitated was your word. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the description of the experience that you're having typically. And so the emotion that might be connected with that is, for example, frustration, or maybe annoyance, or maybe anger, or upset.
Yeah, it's a mix of it's a mix of there is a bit of fear actually, because it feels like you're trapped in a sort of like a through like a bubble of ice in some ways.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There is also a bit of shame also, because like you tend to, as a response to, okay, I'm still with the group, you might smile or you might do things, but they're not really in your control, and you're rather trying to, you're not really, you feel like being lame in some ways. So
Gotcha.
it's a bit
Gotcha.
shame.
Gotcha. Okay. Excellent. So you're a bit lame in some ways. Yeah, you're coming across a bit lame because of the anxiety that you're experiencing. That's right. And a few things to say about that. For one, what people often do is they start judging themselves to be socially inept. Oh, I just have crap social skills. And what I need is more social skills. Yeah, I'm bad at socializing. I'm probably introverted. No, no, no. That's not true. When you're totally comfortable with with a family, if you have a person like that you're comfortable with, some people have their partner or like family member or like small kid or whatever. If you have a person like that and you're totally comfortable with, you have no problem socializing. You're just saying whatever comes to mind. And you're not worried about the next thing you're going to say. So your social skills just go out of the water when your whole system perceives a threat and activates the fight, flight, freeze response, puts your whole body in survival mode. Yeah, you can't be thinking on your feet. You're not funny in those moments. You can't think of stories to say. So, don't, it's inaccurate to judge yourself, to not have those kinds of skills, to not have those social skills. It's the social anxiety that's messing up your social skills. When you're comfortable in a situation like that, and you're fine looking like a dumbass, and you're fine saying stupid stuff, and you're okay, you feel free to say whatever comes to mind, then you don't have that problem. It's the anxiety that's causing that. Now, you probably already know that, but there are a bunch of people watching this, so I want to point that out.
But I just want to add that also I acknowledge my social anxiety 10 days before starting the challenge, which beforehand I just thought this was, part of me. I just like, it was so embedded into my identity that I didn't even realize I had a problem. So the diagnosis being so late, then I just thought that I was a mess.
Right. And how's that now? How are you
Well,
feeling about that now?
well, it's hugely different. First of all, because of like for example, like noticing the concept of social resistance was so helpful because that was mainly what I had of.
Subconscious resistance.
Yes, like most of the reason why I wouldn't want to be socially at ease would be to go back into situations that I really hated. And so now that I'm addressing this, it's opening up in miraculous ways, like especially over the last 5 days or few days when we've been working, especially on that topic. So
Awesome.
doing wonders, yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, let's take that to the next level. I'm just gonna see how we're doing on time. Okay, we are doing quite fine, I think. Right. So another thing you said is like, well, I feel debilitated and kind of feel lame. Well, one way to free yourself, or one part of effortless social ease, in other words, just being yourself, is accepting all parts of yourself, and that includes the part of you that's lame. We're all lame, me a lot more than than you would believe. And so when you come to terms with that, when you accept that, there's actually lots of freedom in that, because then you don't have to hold back from being lame. Then you can just say whatever. Some of it will be lame and it won't bother you, because if they point out, hi, you're lame, you're like, yeah, I know, tell me about it. Right? So there's no downside to it then anymore. Okay. And the other thing you mentioned was fear. I'll get to that in a second. So let's just first start with the lame stuff. So just tap on the side of your hand. By the way, I'm using a variety of techniques. This is my own style. I've been doing this for 14 years, but only for 10 years. And so it's a conglomeration of a wide variety of techniques, both from the tapping world, NLP, provocative therapy, a whole bunch of stuff. So, if I'm doing it wrong, fine. If I'm doing it right, great. It's all good. Okay. So just follow along with me. So just say, even though I am lame,
Even though I'm lame,
I have to admit it.
I have to admit it.
It sucks,
It sucks,
but it's the truth.
but it's the truth.
I deeply and completely
I deeply and completely
reject myself.
reject myself.
Beginning of the eyebrows. Because I'm so lame.
'Cause I'm so lame.
Why would I accept myself?
Why would I accept myself
I mean, if I'm so lame.
if I'm so lame?
I don't know. I'm supposed to be amazing.
I'm supposed to be amazing.
Chin, I have incredible talent.
I have incredible talents.
Collarbone. I'm so smart and sophisticated.
I'm so smart and sophisticated,
Under the arms, and yet I have this shitty social anxiety challenge.
and yet I have this social anxiety challenge. Shitty.
Liver point. I am so lame.
I am so lame.
Wrist point. No, I'm not.
No, I'm not.
Top of that. Oh, yes, I am.
Oh, yes, I am.
Beginning of the eyebrows. It's like I invented it.
It's like I invented it.
So yes, I'm really good at being lame.
I'm really good at being lame.
Under the eyes. Sometimes I'm not lame.
Sometimes I'm not lame.
I don't know. I have my moments.
I have my moments.
Chin, but I'm often enough lame enough.
I'm often enough lame enough.
Collarbone, and I choose to accept myself anyway.
And I choose to accept myself anyway.
Good deep breath. Thoughts, feelings, what are you noticing?
Yeah, I mean, while we were doing it, I actually had that thought, like you said a week ago, that thing about being smart. And for a long time, I actually wondered if I had like additional intellectual capabilities on some matters. And that was very actually it made me feel awkward.
Yep.
And because I didn't really diagnose it or talked about it, then I sort of felt I'm part of those guys that are meant to be awkward, and but what came along with that is obviously a self-rejection for anything that would be lame. I would obviously that would trigger some very strong judgment in me
Gotcha.
about others, but therefore about myself as well.
Sure.
So it's it's then very much boosting the fear of judgment,
Mm-hmm.
either my way towards others, or the way of others judging me. But it doesn't matter.
Gotcha.
One way or the other is very painful to experience anyway.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So
Okay, gotcha.
yeah, that's it.
Sorry, my internet's a bit wonky, but can you hear me okay now? We're still good?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So just say I'm meant to be awkward.
I'm meant to be awkward.
How's it, 0 to 10? How true does that feel?
Yeah, I'd say an 8.
Okay, beginning of the eyebrows. So that's a belief, and a belief is nothing more than a thought that has emotion connected to it. That's why it's so damn difficult to change them by just being logical. You know, uh, okay, I believe that I'm not good enough. You go to a therapist and he's like, no, well, let's talk about all the things that are good about you. You're a nice person. You have a good sense of humor. You helped that lady cross the street. Look at you. You're a good person. And you're sitting in the office like, yeah, I'm so nice. Yeah. But you go out, you go into a social situation and boom, that deeply written, I'm not good enough feeling activates, because that little reframing that you do as a 30-something-year-old doesn't do much for the emotions connected to it that actually have their roots in childhood. So that's a more extreme example, because that's an identity belief. I'm not good enough. What you're talking about now, I'm meant to be awkward, is not necessarily an identity belief. It's just kind of like capability belief. And so but it's an 8, so it's something that you're kind of strongly attached to emotionally. So what the tapping does is it disconnects the emotion from the thought that you're thinking. So the simplest way to apply it, and by the way, it doesn't always work in this way, but this is the first way in, and it always works, tapping, when you apply it in the right way, except for when you're severely depressed. Then you need, or you have other issues. I'm talking about social anxiety. It's always working for social anxiety in my experience, and I've been working with hundreds of people for 10 years. So simple way to start off is to simply say, I'm meant to be awkward.
I'm meant to be awkward.
Collarbone, I am meant to be awkward.
I'm meant to be awkward.
On the arms, this is true about me.
This is true about me.
Liver point, I'm meant to be awkward.
I'm meant to be awkward.
Okay, so it's simply repeating the same thing from point to point. But we can get a little bit more fancy, but by going into some of the reasons for why you believe that. I'm meant to be awkward.
I'm meant to be awkward.
Because I'm so incredibly smart.
Because I'm so incredibly smart.
Beginning of the eyebrows. You should spend some time with me.
You should spend some time with me.
And you'd figure out how brilliant I am.
And you'd figure out how brilliant I am.
Oh yeah, and people as brilliant as me.
And people as brilliant as me.
I don't know, they're meant to be awkward.
They're meant to be awkward.
And weird.
And weird.
Collarbone. Truth is, I'm pretty weird.
Truth is, I'm pretty weird.
By the way, another almost universal belief for people that suffer from social anxiety. They think them weird, they're different, they stand out, they don't fit in. Okay, that's a belief that you start having because that's what you notice. It's not true. It's just because of the anxiety experience, that's what happens. You kind of look weird and you appear weird at moments, Okay, so just say I release all my emotional attachments.
I release all my emotional attachments.
To I'm weird and it's bad.
To I'm weird and it's bad.
Top of that, I release all my emotional attachments.
I release all my emotional attachments.
To I'm meant to be awkward.
To I'm meant to be awkward.
Beginning of the eyebrows, what are you noticing now?
So
Told you I was gonna sweat like crazy. Okay, I'm gonna change my t-shirt. Anyway.
so the thought that came around towards the end was actually it's fine to be awkward, and it's actually it would be nice to be awkward, but to accept that awkwardness, to its full level, and to actually that realizing, thinking of some people that are actually considered as awkward, but in a fully accepting way, and like fully being themselves basically, and playing with that awkwardness, and creating their sort of like they're making their show out of it, which I would generally do the exact opposite, which would be contracting it and
Right.
hiding it. Yeah.
Right. Good. Excellent. Yeah. Awkward is the enemy usually, but it's actually very normal and it's part of everyday life. I interviewed two of my friends. They're very socially at ease. They were a couple at the time that I interviewed them, and I asked them, so, a lot of people with social anxiety have so much trouble with awkwardness. What do you would do with awkwardness? They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, do you ever experience it? They're like, yeah, every day. I'm like, oh, okay. They're like, yeah, it's normal. I mean, you meet people and you kind of don't know each other. You're feeling each other out. You're saying something inappropriate, or they ask you for something, you want to say no, but you mean yes, or you run into a person you haven't seen for a while, and like, are you going to talk to them? Yeah, all the time. So it's not just an experience for people with social anxiety. It's just more blown out of proportion for people with social anxiety because they're a no to awkwardness. I have to avoid it at all costs, and if it happens, it's my fault. Not true. That's just in your mind. Yeah. Okay, good. I'm just more saying that for other people. I think you're quite aware of that, but a bunch of
No,
people
it's
watching.
interesting.
So yeah, good, good. So how are you doing right now? Are you feeling right now?
Yeah, it's quite down actually. Probably one, I'd say,
Okay,
versus four. Yeah.
cool. I'm gonna leave you, and I'm gonna go back to Victoria.
All right. I hope you got value out of this. If so, subscribe to our YouTube channel so you'll learn more about this emotional freedom technique. I encourage you to watch the full 90 minutes YouTube live coaching session, as you will get to appreciate more the power of tapping in dealing with your feelings of awkwardness and social anxiety. Go to bit.ly live social anxiety coaching. That's bit.ly /live social anxiety coaching. That's all for now. See you next Thursday.